Hi, my name is Steve Soderberg. Uh, as family and friends know, we had got a new puppy 11 days ago. Her name is Ray. She's walking around here somewhere. I'll pick her up during this and let you see her. She's doing really good now. But what most of you don't know is that a day and a half after we got her, when we took her to the vet, we found out that she had parvo. If you don't know what parvo is, it's a digestive disease that puppies get if they haven't had their shots yet, all three of their shots yet, and they contract it by eating other dogs' poop that have it. So sometime when she was a puppy, she had come in contact with the virus and gotten it. Um, if you want to know more about it, there's all kinds of videos on YouTube that really go into detail and explain parvo. If your dog has parvo, I mean, you want to know the actual science behind it. This isn't the video for that. Um, but what I do want to do is just kind of let you know a little bit of the symptoms and what we had to do to get our dog through this. A note that I want to make too, a lesson learned here. Luckily, we had all the time in the world to take care of this dog. I'm retired, my wife's retired, and our roommate is retired. So three of us watching this little puppy 24 hours over basically 8 days uh, is what it took to get this puppy through. We did it by having to inject fluids into her mouth with the syringe, Pedialyte, and by putting this paste stuff in a tube. That's what we started with to get nutrients into her system. We had to take her into the vet every other day for 5 days, so it was 4 out of 5 days is basically what it ended up being, because we went Friday and Saturday to get her over the weekend. And they would hook her up, or basically he'd stick a needle in her back, and they'd put like a liter or more of fluid in her back, and then that fluid would seep into her body, and then over the next day and a half, she'd just pee it out. And that's how she was staying hydrated. 85% of puppies who are not treated, or who go untreated, die. I mean, that's just how devastating this disease is. Once the dogs have their shots, they're pretty well protected. It's the most preventable of the diseases, but even still, with their shots, it's really contagious. They can still sometimes, if they're young enough and the shots weren't done perfectly, in right succession, that they could get sick again. So basically, we just committed to doing that, taking her in every other day, and getting those fluids, and then doing the stuff at home. We also had to cram a antibiotic down her throat once every 12 hours. And for a sick puppy, it's hard to do with a puppy who's active and running around, and you're able to get that pill down there and massage their throat, and the thing will drop down in there, But with a sick puppy, they don't even want to lick, so it's really hard to get them to swallow those pills. But you do what you got to do. Just be persistent. But day one, it was when she started throwing up and diarrhea, and having diarrhea. Luckily, we got lucky on the diarrhea, because ours was just brown. Ours wasn't red. The destruction that is done to the intestines during this process is really bad, and so the doctor kind of warned us that there might be a lot of blood, and it might be more than what we would think would be normal. But basically, all she did was sleep for 23 and a half hours a day, and then have diarrhea and throw up, maybe drink a little bit of water, or we would feed her our stuff. That all happened within 30 minutes of the day. And other than that, she was like totally just slept. This went on for day 2 was about the same, and day 3 was probably the worst. Day 3, the diarrhea was the worst. She wasn't drinking at all, anything on her own. we took her in at noon that day. That was on the Wednesday, and we got her rehydrated back up again. Um, but I think that was the day that the doctor said if she makes it through this day, then it'll get better each day. And that's P was pretty well right on. Um, the next day was Thursday. We didn't go in. We just watched her. Um, that was the day we tried to introduce a little bit of regular food into her diet. I mean, back into it. And she wasn't having anything to do with that yet. We had like 5 different plates, 2 different kinds of dry puppy food, 2 different kinds of wet puppy food, and then one of them that was watered down to see if she'd, and just anything to try to get her interest. On day 5, which was a Friday, we took her in, got her rehydrated, and the doctor said we all seemed to think that she was perking up a little bit. Her tail would wag when the doctor came in, and that was a good sign. And but he said, let's do this. Let's fill her up today, and then let's bring her in tomorrow, and we'll do it again. And that way she'll have Sunday, and then maybe by Monday she'll be feeling better. So basically the same thing happened, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, still sleeping most of the day. Maybe by Sunday she was up for maybe an hour, but it just didn't seem like she was really kicking it. Still no food, interest in food, but her tail would wag more. She would get up and walk more around the kitchen. So we knew that she was feeling a little bit better. Day 8, which was Sunday, or which was Monday, was the day that she actually started. All of a sudden, she woke up and she just started eating wet food. She started walking around. We let her out into the living room. She was able to walk around that, and she probably stayed up for like maybe 3 hours on day 8, and we could definitely tell that things were starting to turn. She was drinking water on her own. She hadn't diarrheaed now in about a day and a half, throwing up in about a day and a half, and her poop wasn't as runny. And I don't know if that's because she just didn't have anything left in her stomach, or if that's because she had just, she was just she started eating food and her stomach was feeling a little bit better. So day 9 is today, and she is doing, here, let me grab her here. She's right over here. You come here. Here she is. Yeah. Oh, say hi, Ray. Yeah. And she has been eating this morning. She ate like about 3 helpings of wet food. We just give her about a tablespoon at a time. She's been nibbling at both of the dry foods. She's been playing with the dog. She's already gotten in a fight with the cat. So I don't think she's nowhere near 100% yet, but she's beaten Parvo. She's come through the other side, and we can tell now it's just a recuperation. She's almost back to kind of herself when we got her the first day, because we've only seen her normal for like maybe a day, and so and even then she was brand new to us, so we really don't know what her personality or anything is like yet. But all I'm saying is for you people out there that say $300 for a dog, God, that's just going to be so much. I don't know if I can afford it. This would have been so much harder if we would have had to have worried about money, if we would have had to have worried about taking time off. We're not old, but we're retired, and this was a job, a lot of getting down on your hands and knees, a lot of cleaning up, a lot of keeping up on it, bleach bottle every time she went to the bathroom, and everything is, but all I'm saying is if you're persistent and you stay on it, and you treat this puppy like it should be, like one of your kids, they can get through it. dehydration is the number one. If you can keep the puppy hydrated long enough for the immune system to kick in, that's basically what the battle is. So, yeah, that's basically it. You know, just Pedialyte and those and vitamins of some kind. If you look online, there are other. I don't want to say. I don't know if I really want to believe in home remedies because we did everything the vet told us to do. But there are different kinds of vitamins and different kinds of supplements that you can feed the dog. A lot of them are natural that you can feed your dog, kind of like we did with the paste. Just some, you need something to get into their stomachs to be able to make their stomach right, their gut right. So, and that's what a lot of that stuff does too. It helps with that, and that's what the antibiotic was doing too. So, anyhow, thanks for listening.